Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Jason.
Hello, everyone.
And Stony.
Hello.
How's it going, guys?
Man.
It's been a hot weekend.
Man.
A hot weekend in more than one sense.
Yes, it's, I mean, we had an event that happened this weekend that is just, I don't even want to think of what could have been if that would have happened the way it was intended for it to happen.
Before we jump right in, just so I can date the episode, because I know by the time this comes out, it will probably be a week removed. We're recording this on July 15th, which is a Monday, and it was Saturday was when all this happened. Was the I don't even know how to properly
attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump.
And the reason we try to record a week early is so that the massive editing and production teams have enough time for the Retrospect podcast to get the show, professional and ready for you guys.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Make it sound like there's multiple people doing this.
Hey, shut up, man.
Oh, sorry.
Be quiet.
Pull the curtain back. Sorry.
It has just said this event, considering the political mess right now this country is in.
Yeah.
I'm very, very concerned what would have happened if the unthinkable would have occurred.
Personally, I'll go that route. I think we would be in a civil war. I think had Donald Trump actually passed and that shooter would have succeeded, I think within 2 weeks we would have been in a civil war. Well, because it's very obvious when you look at everything and coming back from 20 plus years of protective services, obviously not at a presidential level, but looking at the events and things that happened, this is a massive failure on numerous levels. And it's so massive, you have to wonder if it's not an inside job. Because the first thing that comes to my mind is this 20-year-old kid, and I heard somebody describing as some kid who does nothing but play Dungeons and Dragons in his mom and dad's basement, that's a part-time employee, walked across an open field. Because if you look at the map of the area, there's a couple of buildings, but everything around it is open fields with possibly a ladder and a rifle. And no one saw him or stopped him except people on social media.
Right.
There's videos of people taking video of him going, look, he's crawling on the roof. He's got a gun. Why did the Secret Service and the local enforcement officers not see any of this?
Right.
Did he have help? It's like when we talked about briefly in one show, the Uvalde shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This was a young teenager working part-time fast food, $15,000 worth of guns, a $70,000 truck in a school that practiced 3 to 5 times a shutdown because of the illegal immigrants walking across the school property. So they were practiced, and one door was left open, pried open, and this kid knew about it. Okay, this is the same situation here. Where did the ladder come from? If he did not carry that ladder across the field, who put it on the roof to give him access when you have advanced teams, okay, again, this is where I come in. When we were protecting people, we had advanced teams that would work in a 360-degree arena from where we know the charge is going to be. The person that we are charged with protecting is going to be. You work in a 360-degree arena. You go advanced, couple of days, couple of weeks, if possible, for the president, a couple of months in advance, and find out what all of the line of sight is, all of the entry points are. And you're thinking, okay, sniper. You know, a trained sniper can go 1,000 yards. That's 10 football fields, for those who don't know. A trained sniper can shoot. Now, this guy apparently didn't have sights on his weapon, but I can still shoot a couple hundred yards with iron sights on my AR-15.
Right.
So this was not an unreasonable. How did he get that close? On the only building with line of sight access to the former president. How did he get there?
Well, conspiracies are going to start to. But I mean, and the problem is because there really is no clear motive of what would possess a 20-year-old kid who, well, it's just how do you? I mean, to be in that state of mind to even contemplate something like
I'll
this.
go there.
But
I'll go there with you.
well,
Hold on. Let me throw this in there. On July the 8th, Biden is giving a speech and throws a fist and said, it's time we put a bullseye on Donald Trump. There's your motivation right there.
I don't think that's it. I think we've talked about this. We talked about this before. Like, I think that Donald Trump is a divisive person. We've talked about this. Just mentioning his name makes some people's blood boil, and I don't think it. It's not surprising, but I don't think it's a coincidence that this attempt was done before the
Republican National Convention. Well, I mean, Joe Biden, has said. I mean, I'm quoting his words here that he had mentioned after this event. He goes, "I urge everyone, please don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations." Mm-hmm. President Joe Biden said in remarks Sunday from the White House, "Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I have instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift," which, he has to, because,
right.
I mean, there's a disturbing trend of rising violence in this arena.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know what happened to House Speaker Scalise at the baseball game where he was shot. Justice Kavanaugh, Supreme Court Justice, had a run-in with a potentially violent situation. On the other side of the political divide, you've got what happened with Paul Pelosi.
Right.
And I'm not saying these things are all the same, and they're a bit different. But there just seems to be that you never heard of this stuff before.
Really? Oh, wait, but you have. I hate to do
know.
this. I'm going to differ with you. There have been 4 presidents assassinated: Abraham Lincoln, James Garfield, William McKinley, and John F. Kennedy.
Right.
3 of those were Republicans. One of those was a moderate Democrat who was going against the big money arena. Oh, wait. Then you have 3 presidents wounded. Theodore Roosevelt, that's 1912. Oh, yeah, Abraham Lincoln was 1865. Garfield was 1881. McKinley was 1901. Then presidents wounded. Theodore Roosevelt, 1912. Ronald Reagan, 1981. And now Donald Trump in 2024. Oh, wait. All 3 of those are Republicans. And guess what? 2 of them were campaigning. So this is not something new.
No,
this is something that the Democrats have been doing for a long time.
They have, but I think where people get this just doesn't happen, though, every day.
It doesn't?
I mean, the last time, and if you think, when's the last time a president got shot at? Was Reagan.
Right.
That's 1981.
No, that's just the ones we know about.
Well, I mean...
Okay, how many shots have been fired at the White House?
Well, I mean, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I mean, maybe they have been taken. Could be stray gunfire from the crime rate that's in Washington, D.C., because everybody knows that place is infested with criminals.
What happened to the Kennedy running against Hillary Clinton for Senate?
What do you mean Kennedy run against Hillary
Yeah,
Clinton?
what happened to the Kennedy running against Hillary? Oh, that's right. His plane crashed with his wife and other people died because he was running against Hillary. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm curious. Who is this? I'm trying to remember. Kennedy.
One of the Kennedys was killed.
Oh, you talking about Kennedy Jr.?
Yes.
The plane that went down off New York?
He was running against Hillary Clinton for Senate.
For the Senate in New York. Well,
this is going on a long time. This ain't nothing new.
But I'm not talking about
what we have is
stuff.
controlled media now.
Well, I think, though...
I think we're getting derailed.
I am talking about plain of sight, legitimate attempts on U.S. presidents. As I said, the last time this has happened was Ronald Reagan. That was 1981. We're in 2024 now. That's what I'm saying. These events don't happen. Thank God they don't happen very often. But, I mean, before that, you have to go back to Kennedy. That was, what, 62, 63 that he got shot?
Right.
Before that, now you're getting back into William McKinley, 1901. Yep. Now, Abraham Lincoln, that was a whole different ball game with him. But, I mean, I'm just talking about in the last 10 years, we have had now a lot of events coming around this idea of violence against elected officials. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't deny that. Right. I mean, it's been an increase.
I don't think that's the answer either. If I can just go ahead and put my 2 cents out there, I don't think that violence is going to be the answer to solving any of the problems. It's only going to make things worse. But.
No, it's not going to solve a problem. But the problem is that's the issue.
I know.
Is where have we gotten to the point that people feel empowered to even contemplate this stuff?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. This is a 20-year-old kid that you would look at him and go, how do you even get to a point to even want to go try to kill a former president of the United States?
Yeah.
I mean, is there something going on?
Actually, Brandon Iglesias, our longtime guest, has come. He sent me about 15 texts about this, saying that the guy was on TikTok, canceled his TikTok, and he believes that it's something happening with wetware.
It could be.
Could be, because we've been looking at that subject, and it turns out to be one of our more looked into subjects on the podcast.
Gosh. Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I know when we've had Brandon on and he's talked about some stuff that it seems so fantastical, but yet at the same time, I am trying to figure out what is going on with people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What is happening here? That a 20-year-old kid that supposedly got no criminal record, has had no run-ins with the law, just seems like a normal, geeky 20-year-old kid. Okay, there's millions of those kind of people.
And so he wakes up one day and says, "Oh, wait, I'm going to go try to assassinate a former president."
Exactly. I mean,
no, that doesn't happen.
I think you could be surprised. I think normal people have. I think we're making a lot of assumptions about this person's character, thinking that he's a normal person, whenever he very well could be very heavily political and have very strong opinions. That's what I'm saying.
They found him in a BlackRock commercial.
There you go.
He's a member of Antifa.
And right there, that already discredits the fact that he's like, oh, he's just a normal person.
He's not a normal kid.
Not a normal kid, dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got some baggage, and I think he had an axe to grind, and I think he saw his opportunity.
Yes, he saw his opportunity, and someone helped him.
Right. Well,
helped him.
Right.
Oh, hey, look, there's going to be a ladder there, and think about this. This is what everybody's not thinking about. What was in his van?
What
does anybody know what was in his van?
No, I don't even know.
I think they said they found some explosive material.
So let's think about that. We did this on a suicide when we talked about suicide, and now we're talking about somebody who's going to attempt to assassinate a former president. He thinks he's getting away. He thinks He's getting back to his van to do something with those explosives. So someone helped him and say, hey, we're going to get you out of there. Just you go do it. We're going to get you out of there and you're going to be safe. And then he's going to take those explosives and do something else.
Maybe, but at the same time, I think
still a maybe.
You're right, but again, it's hard to say anything definite because we don't know anything. That's the hard part. Is like you're saying that he was helped by somebody, but again, that I could also argue that again, if the killer is confident enough that he can get away by himself. Like that's just
you ain't getting away after
you say that. But the thing you say that, but let's say hypothetically he didn't have any help and he was able to get on the building by himself. You want to talk about confidence? I got there by myself and Secret Service doesn't know I'm here. I got in the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like let's say hypothetically, I'm just saying like if we're gonna if anything is an option, let's go ahead and throw out all the options. And like if you can bring a gun and a ladder into a rally and no one says anything and you're just had that level of confidence, you also would have the confidence to go, I'm going to get in that van and get out of here or blow it up or whatever.
I'm going to ask y'all both to give me your opinion.
Okay.
When they showed a picture of him, were you surprised?
No.
So the first thing I saw was the video of like the video from like the big live camera feed, how shots ring out, and then of course the former president drops, and then of course the camera pans over to the right to like catch something because I think the stray bullet hits something and it's like making
it
was like a balloon or a tank or whatever, and it's like it's hissing or whatever. So he like pans over that way, and then of course ends up going back over, and so I thought the title that I heard was that he was shot at. So from the get-go, I read the terminology as he was not shot, he was shot at. So I was like, okay, he must be fine. And of course, when I saw him stand up and he had like the graze marks on his cheek and his ear, I was like, dude, this is wild. Of like what just happened.
When they showed pictures of him.
No, he looks like every other school shooter that's been on TV.
Exactly.
Every school shooter. He's been bullied.
Okay.
He's been this.
I thought you were talking about Trump himself.
No, I'm talking about the shooter.
I haven't seen any pictures of him.
You haven't?
No. Really?
The only thing I've seen is grainy video of like his remains
they've shown his. I'm looking at a picture of him in his high school graduation.
You're looking for that picture? While you're looking for that to show it to Ian, what time did the bullets fire?
It was like around 4 o'clock.
Or 6:11.
6:11. Okay.
Okay. Does anybody know what Ephesians 6:11 is?
Oh, stop it! Don't try and do this.
Put on the armor of God so that you may be able to stand firm against the tactics of the devil. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there because
it's coincidental, but I
think it's very coincidental. But
once again, here's a kid. He's 20 years old. He, from all intents and purposes, from what's coming out, he was an outcast. He was bullied every day in school. And it's like this one of his classmates they interviewed. He said Crooks was bullied at school and sat alone at lunchtime. Other students mocked him for the clothes he wore, which included hunting outfits. Mm-hmm. He was bullied almost every day, Kohler told reporters. He was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, this is something that's very common with these shooters.
Yep.
And I don't know. The old adage, kids are cruel. Mm-hmm. And I think in many ways probably this is his way of kind of gaining fame and saying look at me, what I'm done, I'm brave, and look at the I shocked the world. It kind of reminds me to a degree of Hinckley, who shot Reagan, who did it to impress Jodie Foster.
Right.
So, this is what I'm concerned about and this is where I blame the media for almost 6 years, making Trump out to be the second coming of Adolf Hitler. Mm-hmm. They are just to blame to inflame the passions of people, of using that kind of language in describing Trump, which to me is an insult to the actual people who died under Adolf Hitler.
Right.
To somehow even put Trump and Hitler in the same sentence is just, to me, irresponsible.
Right.
It just is. And I blame them for basically inflaming people's passions regarding Trump. Instead of just sticking to facts and simply attacking him on where he has messed up and praising him on things he did well. They can't do that. They cannot even be honest about that. I watched some of these left-wing news outlets. They couldn't even, you could tell it was driving them nuts to actually even be sympathetic to Donald Trump.
Right.
That's the problem.
Well, when it first happened, they were escorting him off because he fell. That was CNN's first headline about the attempted assassination on Donald Trump was, he fell and he was being escorted off. Really?
Yeah. I mean,
really?
I wish everybody would just tone it down. We don't need to use these words and, he's a Hitler and he's going to end democracy. And I'm sitting there going, how is he going to end democracy? What kind of, why are you saying that?
Well, first off, we've never been a democracy. So that's terminology that they use so that the mass can rule. The mass doesn't rule. We are a constitutional republic and always have been. And I'm really sick and tired of the media and the Democrats spewing that rhetoric because it's offensive. I'm offended that they continually do that because it's not true and it adds more to their bullshit lies that they constantly perpetrate on the American public.
Well, and unfortunately, there are people who buy it and believe it.
Yes, like this kid.
Exactly. I guarantee you that's all he's heard is Trump being vilified for the last 5 years of his, if he's 20. So you think he's probably starting to pay attention to some things probably around 15 years old. That's all he's heard. Trump's going to end democracy. He's Hitler. He's going to lock people up in intern camps and, whatever else crazy stuff they've used to characterize the man. And I'm like, none of that's true.
No, actually, it's all a lie.
So why are you saying that? Because you're not helping the country by doing that.
Because the liberals have never been able to stand on facts and statistics. All they have is lies, untruths, and fear.
I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that you can't, you can only go up. You can't go down. You can't go back. Once you start, once you make,
kind of make it personal.
Like you can only say so much before you can rile up people, and we live in a day and age where everything is so sensationalized. You have to say stuff that's gonna be there. It's flash in the pan, but it has to get everyone's attention. You got to say stuff. You got to do stuff, and that's just perpetuated.
And I agree with you on that. Like they're using racism. I agree.
They're using a whole lot of stuff that just really
because everybody's become so desensitized.
You're right. 6 months ago, you can't say the same thing you'd say now, and I think it's just over the course of these years, it's just only gotten bigger and it's only gotten worse, and they've only painted a more harsh picture to where now, you can't really go back. Like you really have the media has dug a hole and kind of.
I go back to my initial remarks. I don't want to know what this country would be if Trump would have been killed, because I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
We were seconds away from seeing the man's head being blown off.
Yep.
And the shock of 50% of the country. That basically, I don't want to know where
we would be singing a different tune right now.
I'm telling you, I'll be honest with you. We
probably would not be recording right now because of everything going on in the country at that point.
I would think there would be states that would be like, okay, this is gone. too far.
Yep.
You've not only you've tried to disparage the man, you've tried to sue him into being, sue him to bank. He goes into bankruptcy.
Yes.
Try to put him in jail, and now you've tried to kill the man. I'm sitting there going, what are you so afraid of?
Even if you didn't directly, because of your actions, you have inadvertently caused someone to feel like they can.
You've empowered people to go out and do this.
Yep.
And so
I just said that a few minutes ago.
What's
and y'all disagreed with me.
What? As far as what?
When Biden's going, we need to put a target on him.
Well, I agree.
The way you said it, it was like that was his plea to like everyone who fights for me. Now is your chance to shoot him. Is what you were insinuating.
But it is how many liberal actors and politicians have said we need to take him out.
Right. But
again, there's a 4.5 minute list of all of them saying the same thing.
Right.
Robert De Niro. Who else?
I got you.
Well,
so they're hoping one of their followers goes out and does the very thing that just happened.
I think that it was a turn of phrase. I don't think that Joe Biden really.
No,
I don't think. First of all, I don't think.
I don't think that's what he
Biden,
said it for. But
right.
when you are the president of the United States,
gotta watch what you're saying.
You have a responsibility in what you say because there are stupid people that follow you.
You're right. Well, to be honest with you, if people were actually for what's good for the country, none of this would have been going on with Donald Trump. There should have been no trial against him. There should be none of that. They should let that go and let the voters determine who's going to be the president.
Well, look at
the story. Quit trying to disparage the guy.
Look at the damage control that they're having to do in New York right now. All of the big money real estate people are leaving.
Yeah, because of that.
Because of that one trial. Okay, Ian, if you own a house. Let's say you own it for 10 years and you buy it for $100,000. We'll just use that because my brain ain't really working right now. I'm getting excited and I don't want to flub up my numbers.
Got it.
Okay. And your house gets appraised for $125,000.
Right.
When you go to sell it, how much are you going to say that house is worth? You're not going to sell it for that. You're going to say, "Oh, I want $160,000."
Well,
and hope
everybody
that happens.
Everybody values their property what they want to value their property at. I mean,
that's my point exactly, and that's what he did, and nobody got hurt. That's what happens in every day. Even a common citizen that sells a house, a business, a car. Okay, if I want to go sell my Tahoe and the Blue Book value on it is $6,500, I'm going to say I want $8,500, hoping somebody's going to talk me down to $7,500.
Yep.
Right.
Of course.
Do I go to jail too? Do they bankrupt me?
Well,
no. But they did this with Donald Trump. Then they tried to convict him, and that didn't work.
I'm Dan Heath. On the What It's Like to Be podcast, I ask folks about their jobs, like what keeps a TV meteorologist up at night.
When I'm at work and there's a tornado coming into town, my husband and my kids have to get into the tornado shelter without me.
What keeps a welder driven?
I never am satisfied. I always know I can do better.
And what keeps a hairstylist on her toes?
I know she likes that Halle Berry haircut, but she doesn't look like Halle Berry.
Find out on What It's Like to Be, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, because I think everybody saw through the BS with that conviction.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, at the heart of it, he was guilty of basically paying off a porn star to basically stay quiet.
Actually, he didn't.
Well,
okay, he didn't do that.
I know that, but I mean, the fact of the matter, even if I even grant that and he did it, I still don't understand why they would even go there with that because that is so weak.
Well, it's also like how many times on the other side, how many times has probably the other side of the spectrum also paid off people to be quiet about stuff?
Exactly.
And at that point, it's like,
wait, Bill Clinton did $800,000. At least with Donald Trump, he got a better deal.
I mean, but the fact of the matter, what they got him on was that what New York used was supposedly campaign money was used, which means it would have had to been recorded as a campaign.
I see.
That's where they caught. That's what they used. That's their hook they used.
But he didn't have control of that money. Somebody else did, and that's who paid. And then it comes out, she came out and said, oh, wait, that actually didn't happen. He didn't rape me. He didn't do these things. I did it because somebody paid me to say those things. That's her quote.
I mean, and the sad part about this whole thing, while a tragedy in one sense was averted,
yes,
there was still another tragedy.
There was
with a great father was killed defending his family.
He was jumping in front of his family and protecting his family.
And then you have 2 others who are critically injured.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying, guys. I don't know where we're going right now, and I don't know if the media will ever get it through their heads that we have to quit attacking people personally on both sides.
Yeah.
We need to get away from that. These are human beings. Everybody has what they think is the best vision for America.
Right.
Well, they had an Australian paper come out blasting the American media for not being journalists anymore, being true journalists, because they're not. They're paid by BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street to spew out the same rhetoric, same bullshit every day, and it's anti anything that the common don't want, and that is just ridiculous.
Well, it looks like they use an AR-15 rifle,
really,
or style.
That was his dad's. His dad bought
right.
a couple of months. That's actually how they identified him, was through the dad's rifle.
And he was 164 yards away.
So from what little bit I heard, and again, all this, we're not even 48 hours removed, I feel like, from all this stuff. From what I have heard is that local law enforcement was alerted to this person and what was going on, and the local law enforcement didn't have the ability to get that to the Secret Service, but they were still able to intercept him. And before the shots were fired, there was a police officer that was in an altercation with him.
Well, there's supposedly a police officer that climbed a ladder and saw him. The guy turned and pointed the AR at him.
Right.
And I guess any reaction to anybody, you're going to jerk a little bit, and he fell.
Right.
Well, because he's not in a position to be able to return fire. Because if
you're on top of a ladder,
you can't.
Even if that happens, why don't you fire a shot?
I mean, you're right.
You let the Secret Service know somehow.
Yeah.
That guy's there. But as it turned out, as soon as the guy fell down, he turned around and started shooting toward the president.
And I'm going to tell you, that may have actually messed up his
trajectory.
His aim, because now he's startled. Oh, I'm been exposed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They know I'm here. Let me rush and get what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do. So, I don't.
I'll say it like this: God's hand was in this.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm a firm
this.
believer in divine intervention, and there's no doubt in my mind, for him to be able to turn his head at that particular moment in time, and for the bullet to graze him. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all know what a 223 can do.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't even hit him, and you could see the scars across his face and his ear.
Exactly.
Didn't even hit him.
I'll be very curious, because I'm reading here that Trump rewrote his speech.
Yes.
For the Republican National Convention.
I would imagine so. That was the thing that I was thinking about. I was like, not only do I know the RNC, or Republican National Convention, is coming up today, isn't it?
No, it's been going on the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that, I knew that was going on, but at the same
time, Thursday is his big speech, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Thursday. But he rewrote his speech, and I'll be very curious. And this is an observation I'm looking. Will this change him?
I hope so, just a little bit.
Because of the idea that I could be dead right now.
Yep.
It kind of
or does it make him more of a fighter?
I mean,
what is he
bleeding? I think he's a fighter. There's no doubt he's a fighter. I believe that 100%. He is a fighter. Mm-hmm. The question is, though, it causes you to do some
evaluations
of my life and go, if this is when I was going to meet my maker, am I ready? Am I proud of myself? Yep. Do I feel my conscience is clear?
Yep.
to go. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
I had the same feeling where I was like, I'm not saying he's going to be a different person, and I don't think he's going to be any less of a fighter, especially for America. But just having a little bit of like.
Maybe a little humility.
A little bit. Just a little bit of like.
Well, you could even see in the debate that he was a little more.
You're right.
He was pulled down. It's like they coached him. He was, and he got some more charges after the debate, right, with Joe Biden.
What's that?
Yes, for elderly abuse.
Oh,
Stop it! Get out.
Well, I just speaking of Donald Trump, I just saw the federal judge tossed out all the indictments on the.
Really?
The what's that? The
conviction
classified.
Okay.
Excuse me. Classified documents.
Okay.
So, I have a feeling that I think people realize we need to cut this out. We need to end this. And the fact of the matter is,
you know what I think, and here I'm going to play both parties now. If you hear me out, is that you talk about everyone wanting control. Stoney talks about control from both sides. That's what they want. They want control. They want to be able to have the situation under control, handle it, all that kind of stuff. And I think that this may be one of those first times where, and this is me hypothetically coming from a place of the shooter didn't have any help. If this person did this off their own volition and didn't have any kind of inside help, regardless, now both parties are like, we think we have full control, but I don't think we really have a full grasp on what's going on. And I'm hoping that this is one of those like wake up calls where like maybe we should kind of shift into having a little bit of a different tune. But I could be wrong.
I think they're going to use it to go more authoritarian and really take more of our rights away.
I don't think so.
I mean, but I do worry. I do worry about the tone, and I knew that they kept just making this guy out to be he was going to end America the way. I mean, it's like he was president before. Did America come to an end then?
Because the libtards cannot go off of facts and statistics. All they have is fear. That's all they can use. You cannot go on. Actually, they've said that Donald Trump owes his life to the failure of the Biden administration's border, because he was looking at the crowd and he turned his head at the exact moment to look at the big displays up there where they were showing the immigrants' statistics. And he even said this, that it turned his head just in the right way and it missed him. So, that's all they have.
Right.
They don't have, all they have is failures. They have nothing that they can go on in an equal, who's done the best job? Okay?
Well,
Donald Trump sent no American into a war for the first time in how long?
Okay, there was no wars.
There was no wars. There were no crazy.
The economy was rocking
good.
And rolling prior to COVID.
He's a racist, but yet he's the first person to allow the African American community and the Jewish community to play on his golf courses. Okay, what's the big Augusta? They weren't allowed on the golf courses. You couldn't get on them if you were black or Jewish, period. You weren't allowed. He was the first person to allow him on his golf courses. How is he a racist? How many awards did he win? Because it's the fear. It's the bullshit.
I wouldn't even say the fear. It's just that's the picture they wanted to go with.
That's what they're using is the fear of he's a racist.
Right.
But well, I see that Crooks, he was a registered Republican.
Well, he did that. And a lot of people do that so they can vote on the early stuff.
Right. And but shows that he gave $15 to a progressive political action committee on January 20th, 2021, the day Biden was sworn in. And my understanding that this political action committee is basically try to encourage left-wing, voter organizing and stuff like that. So I had a feeling this guy was probably, just like you said, he was, y'all said he was Antifa.
And he was in a BlackRock commercial.
In a BlackRock commercial.
Yes. You know, the big three that I'm always bashing,
Right.
BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street.
Right.
He was in a BlackRock commercial.
What was he doing there?
I didn't watch the commercial. He was just in the commercial.
Okay. I was just curious. I didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
He could have been an extra for all I know, but he was in it.
Yeah.
And he had a Steam account playing a game called Assassinate the President, where he was only playing against Donald Trump. They found his Steam account. They found some other accounts on him. And, you know.
Well, I tell you what, I kind of like this statement. Republican Representative Mike Kelly, who represents the area where the shooting occurred, attended with his wife and grandchildren and was just behind Trump when he was wounded. Kelly said he was in a state of bewilderment in how and what has happened to the United States of America. I just wish people tone it down, he said. Quit trying to blame somebody. The blame lies somewhere in the psyche of America. And I believe that.
Yes, I agree with that.
There's something is fundamentally broke with us that I don't know at what point we got off the rails. Look, I've said this all along. We blame politicians, but we, the American people, are deeply divided.
Mm-hmm.
You have people who have radically different views of what they think America should be. At one time in this country, you didn't have that. There was a general sense that we were all Americans and we all shared some fundamental values that crossed the spectrum. Didn't matter if you were Democrat or Republican. There was just some things that was just kind of understood to be.
Well, part of that difference is
I don't think we have that anymore.
I love that. The time you're talking about.
We're tribal. I mean, we're
back
so
then,
tribal now.
You were working your ass off. You worked from sun up to sundown. You didn't have time to do all this bullshit that people are doing now. Okay? You worked your ass off. You followed the American dream that said if you work your butt off, you can be successful. Now everybody wants something for free. And when you don't get it for free, or you're going to take their free shit away, now you're the enemy, or you're a racist, or you're this, or you're that. And again, here comes the libtard, fear mongering coming on. You know, get out there and work.
Speaking of that, that's so funny that you brought this up because earlier today, I watched a YouTube video of I guess it was a Dr. Phil show. And he was talking about people that are on government assistance and how the money works versus people who work and are employed. And literally, I was shocked. We are basically paying people not to work.
Yes.
We are paying people not to work.
Absolutely. That's the point.
And you wonder why people wander around aimlessly trying to find themselves, and they're so vulnerable because when you don't have a purpose in this world, you're like a rudderless ship.
Mm-hmm.
You are. And you are very, very susceptible to having your brain influenced by a lot of times negative things.
That's right.
You are. And I really believe deep down in this country, there are a lot of people that have no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like rudderless ships waiting for any little current to take them. And unfortunately, that's where this kind of divisive politics is. People have latched onto this because they've got nothing else to do in life.
Well, think about all the time spent on the phone, on TikTok and everything. And when you're watching the same thing over and over and over again, what do you think is going to happen to your brain? If you have no purpose, if you don't have your own drive, if you don't have your own identity, what's going to happen to you? Someone's going to take your rudder and start steering you around.
I am truly, I do believe that there's something there, because we keep asking what's going on. Why has society changed? Why are school shootings happening? Whereas before they never happened. What is going on to make people want to do these things? And I'm telling you, people are I just think a lot of people are lost. Mm-hmm. They're just lost. They have no purpose in this life. They don't feel a connection to their fellow man anymore. It's, and so it's easy to kind of dive off into some of this crazy stuff and act on it. That to me is what I think we need to look at that a little bit more because we're always asked, well, how could this happen? And guess what? It'll happen again probably because the same conditions that gave rise to these things are still there.
Yes.
Nothing has changed. I don't see the media all of a sudden changing. Maybe they'll kind of tone it down a little bit.
The media is not going to change.
They're not going to change.
They're not going to.
It's just we are. I don't.
We did an episode a while back, Greatest Enemy to America, and my top list was the media.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I still feel that way if I don't feel stronger about that.
I mean, how did we... That's what I'm saying is...
We've gotten away from a society that works and has drive and has passion and has family orientation to a society that wants stuff for free, wants somebody else to pay for it, and they don't want to take any responsibility for themselves. I remember I've rekindled my relationship with my father over the last couple of months, and you found out, he was working when he was 6 or 7 years old, working for Mr. Lunsford at a grocery store. If you bought $1 worth of food at the grocery store, they delivered it. My dad would deliver it on his bicycle. And did that until he was in high school. People were different. You worked from sun up till sundown.
I think also the world was different too.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. But the thing of it is America kept that until World War II, Vietnam, and then...
so that's what I'm saying. What changed? What is the common denominator? What changed for...
Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Give Me Something for Free?
Well, there was a lot.
There's a lot of things that are going on.
I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that.
It's got to start somewhere.
I do believe now that there's been attempt, Lyndon Johnson's Great Society. There's a lot of criticism on some of that with the breakdown of the nuclear family, especially within the black community. And there's a lot of statistics to show there's been a lot of problems associated with the breakdown of the nuclear family. I saw some stuff, and we've kind of talked about it in some prior episodes. But that's what I'm saying. People lack purpose. And this kid, he's dead now, and he's met his maker, and he'll be judged, whatever how his maker's gonna judge him. But I guarantee you there were many, many days and years of being made fun of and picked on and basically being made to feel like he was an outcast, that he's not wanted. And that there are psychological consequences. Now, some people rise above that.
Right.
Some people do. And actually channel that into very constructive endeavors. But there's some that just... they break. And sometimes, I hate to say it, but I'm going to place some blame on some of his schoolmates for doing that to him.
Right.
Because there's so many things you have to throw in the pot that eventually makes you who you are. And in this case, how about if someone would have one day said, hey, let's cut that out, guys, and brought him in and made him feel like he was welcome and he was not some weirdo.
Yep.
Okay, we had bullying when I was in school, but we had to come home and work and bust our asses and do things, so we didn't have time to sit around on a little computer playing shoot-'em-up games and listening to devil music going, ooh, gee, I'm going to get back at these people because I need to defend myself. My ass was working and busting my ass ass, so I didn't have time to develop that mentality. So how about we start beating these kids' ass and start putting them to work?
I don't think you're 100% wrong, but also like there was a large group of there's a large group of serial killers that came out of that time as well from being hit in the head.
Actually,
or being
there's
abused.
More serial killers now. They were just more on the front page.
You're probably right.
I mean, well, look, as I said, I mean, look, life has never been a panacea.
Right.
I mean, it's always had cruel people. I mean, if you want to go back in time, a lot of people did some heinous stuff.
You're right.
I mean, they really did.
Now.
I think there's something, though, different about what's happening today.
Well, we have a society of victims.
Yeah.
Instead of a society of workers, we have a society of victims.
I hear you, and you're right, but we also have a society as well that is also not encouraging anyone to be that, to bust
I think they are actually doing
out of that. You think we have a society around us that is encouraging us to go out there and work and all that kind of stuff?
Oh,
I don't think
work.
so.
I thought you meant to be the other part.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Right now, I think
because you can get too much for free now.
Well, not even that. I'm like, you're right, but I think it's also like the standard that is set for anyone in my age bracket, that at least everyone that I know of, no matter how hard we work as millennials, we probably will never fully own a home. That's the world we live in. Like, yes, you can do that, but like for most people, depending on what city they live in, that's just not going to happen.
I agree.
And that's the world that we live in, where it's like, and so like, no matter how hard I work, I probably will never have a baseline comfort of life that you and your generation had.
Yes, I agree with that.
And that's the part that's hard, is like, now it's hard for me to like, I'm putting in so many hours for work. I'm busting my tail, and it's hard to keep that motivation going when I know that at the end goal of it is I'm probably not going to have enough money by myself to support a family, and I'm probably not going to be able to own my own home. And then it's like, well, I guess I'll just try and get some stuff for free.
And I 100% agree with you, and I think that is the attack on the American family that's been going on for decades, and that is a crime.
And that's why I think I get so upset whenever like, I don't think it is not 100% the people's fault that they are just trying to get things for free, because we live in a world where like it's hard to attain the things normally. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm not saying that's the right way, but it also is. I don't think it's 100% their fault that that's the case. I think that like there's a system in place that is making it hard for everyone to want things to be like the good old days, like it was. And that's where I'm at.
Sometimes you got to make decisions. For a couple of years, I worked 2 jobs, and now I can't work. Miranda's got 2 jobs. You have to do what it takes to get it done, too.
Well,
and I love you, baby, and I appreciate you doing all that.
Yes, I'm saying something is awry, and it's a shame that, Ian, and there are a lot of, what Ian is saying,
it's true.
There's a lot of truth to that, because the statistics show that what it takes to own a home now. Just look at home prices.
Right.
Everything going on. That's why it's so important to pay attention to policies that elected officials push on the economic side, instead of focusing on all the emotional stuff that has nothing to do with actually putting food in front of my face. Or to pay my mortgage on my house.
Right.
That is what we have to focus on. And there's too many people that vote on emotion.
Yes.
And they don't vote on facts.
I agree.
And that's the problem. And unfortunately, they have people that are playing that, but hoping you do that, because there's a segment of the population that likes the way the system works right now,
and that's
because they benefit from it.
And that's what I'm saying, is I think that also like there's this gray area, this middle ground of probably normal, upstanding citizens that want to do things like myself. Like I want to work and be able to provide for myself, but the fact that there's a majority of people, or there's a large number of people that would rather not work and just get things for free, that now make it harder on like myself, this person kind of in the middle, because now I'm like having to.
Yes.
And I think that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't think it's there is so many little things that I think have built up to where we are right now. I don't think there's any one thing that has done it, but I do think that there's a lot of things in place right now that are perpetuating this hard situation. So,
well, one thing that I'm reminded of in this discussion, when Donald Trump first was running for president.
Mm-hmm.
He said, they don't want me.
No.
They want you, and I'm the only one standing in the way. Well, they have definitely worked overtime trying to get him out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel, and I tell you what, Miss Melania Trump has turned out to be a very class act. Mm-hmm. When you watch her from the time when she was the first lady to even the shooting, some of the statements that she said after that shooting, that lady's a class act. And I pray for him. I pray for all of our politicians and their families. But for right now, this has got to be a trying time for them. Mm-hmm. But this is crazy, and I'm with Jason on this. I'm kind of glad we don't have to deal today with
having a different conversation.
Successful attempt, and hopefully.
Well, we will know. Speaking of Trump, I mean, he will be announcing his VP pick today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when, of course, when this episode airs, we'll know who his VP pick is.
Nice.
But
I will say, though, the crazy thing, to kind of leave on a different note, like the immense emotional and scary situation of having been there, being somebody in that crowd. What must it have felt like to have like the potential of witnessing the death of a president, just for him to like to stand up and raise his fist in the air? Like, that's got to be.
I think the crowd did that.
You're right.
No, the crowd showed what their mettle was. When you had Secret Service agents hiding behind the podium instead of jumping on the president, the crowd was standing up and shouting. Mm-hmm. And they stood up.
I know.
And they didn't hide.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the fact of like the immense relief that he was okay. Mm-hmm. And props to also Donald Trump as well for, like, even though Secret Service was trying their best to keep him down or like to move him away, he was like, this is just what I'm assuming what was going through his head, is like, I gotta let the people know that I'm all right. You know, with him like just really pushing through all of it.
He put his hand up and said, fight.
And then there's like that
will go down.
There's that
will be a moment.
That one picture that was taken that has the American flag behind him as he's like standing there with his fist up. That's one of those things where like I could see that being in.
I think he's wrapped up
history books.
I think he's wrapped up the race.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's.
It's so.
I would be very. I think a lot of people that were on the fence have got to say, okay, what's. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. You know. So I see Elon Musk has endorsed Trump.
Oh, he's been done that.
And Jeff Bezos also recently had a statement.
I think they're like,
stuff,
we're you know, I think people finally are breaking free of this
stigma,
ice block they've been in with this kind of stuff with him. So, I do, and you know, I said I'm glad we're not dealing with what the worst case scenario could have been. And what that would have meant for the country.
The point that I was getting at with saying that was just looking at this picture and watching that video of what was going on. I'm not like a super fan of Trump, but like I agree with what he's like the message that he's, you know, for the country and all that kind of stuff. But man, you want to talk about like the most patriotic photo and something that really emboldens me to be like, wow, like. This is a person that
loves this country.
That at every step of the way has tried to be put down, even attempted assassination. Mm-hmm. And yet he's still going to stand here and probably fight, which is...
That's somebody you can kind of get behind, huh?
It's not even... Yes, that. But also the fact of, like, the persistence. If anybody, for me, that I would give a pass to be like, you know, like we were saying before, having a near death experience and really starting to contemplate yourself and going like, I don't want to do this anymore. I, as a person, would be like, I don't blame you. Coming that close to death and you know and having a reevaluation towards the end of your life, I wouldn't blame a person like that. But the fact that he's going to still follow through with it is like, you know, good on you, man.
Well, I don't think it would be fair just to say some good stuff about Donald Trump. We need to at least acknowledge something positive about Joe Biden. And Joe Biden has proven himself to be the greatest multitasker of our time. Joe Biden can walk up the stairs, fall down the stairs, and shit on himself all at the same time.
Stop it.
Stony.
I will say, like, I mean, I don't think that. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say.
Oh, there we go. We can end it right there.
I don't even know what to say. Because
Ian is speechless.
It's not
at this
even that I'm
point.
speechless. Because, like, I will say, it's like you said earlier. Like, I may not agree with him as a pick, but at the same time, like, I don't wish death upon him. I don't, Biden and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely not.
I feel bad if nothing else. I want that guy to just retire and just be able to just live out the rest of your life, man, and don't embarrass yourself.
I think what's the sad part about it is, with President Biden, is the Democratic Party has so latched onto him.
Mm-hmm.
They have no one else.
Right.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, who are you going to run if he leaves? You got Kamala Harris, which nobody in their right mind believes she can be president of the United States. Who do you got? Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, has destroyed that state.
A name that's
he's got his own skeletons that would come out.
A name
real
that's been
quick.
tossed around is Michelle Obama.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but I'm gonna tell you, I've heard
You're
that
bad.
too. But she, they've got it made right
Yes.
now. Why would I even subject myself to that? So no, I don't believe that.
I don't either.
I think
Especially now.
They're
Because you don't want to waste a possible future candidate to getting completely destroyed by Trump in this election.
Well, exactly.
Because that's what's going to happen. I think they're at one point I said they're going to move Biden out.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think at the end, with a little bit of time left, they may push Kamala Harris in just to say she was the first female African-American president.
Right.
But he's still going to be their candidate. I just firmly believe that.
Well, also the Democratic National Convention, I think, is in August.
Right,
So
and
we still
they're in
got time.
Chicago,
Yeah.
which is almost, to me, as divided as that party is right now. I mean, if we all remember back in the late '60s when the brokered convention was there was riots in that
Really?
convention.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
It
Big
was
time.
it was a bad deal. So, there are also a lot of deep divisions within the Democratic Party.
Well, there's a whole group of them holding back $90 million of funds if Biden is going to be their candidate. They're not releasing the funds.
Dang.
Some pledged funds. So, there's a lot of division.
Well, like I said, kind of towards the top of this, I don't think that violence in that capacity is going to fix any of our problems. I don't think killing any of those people in power are going to fix the problem.
No, but voting them out will.
You're right. I knew for a fact that earlier, about a month or two ago, whenever we, we're talking about potential topics and ideas, I was like, this is going to be a big year. This is a big election year. There's a lot of stuff on the line. And I had a feeling that we were going to probably be having a couple episodes about some crazy things that were going on, but
we didn't see this coming.
I did not see this coming. Did not expect this. And,
you don't want this.
No.
This is not what you want for America. I mean, even Saudi Arabia put out a letter just condemning the shooting and how badly they feel for former President Trump and his family. I mean, this is how the country is viewing us now.
Right.
I mean, the world is viewing us now. And this is not good. This is not good. Violence, this type of violence is not the answer.
No. This is our opportunity to all rally together. But anyways, I hope and pray for everyone that was injured and involved, and for both sides, that some peace and some level-headedness and some fresh perspective can be brought to this. I think that's what we need for this time. But how about you as listeners? Let us know what you think, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that got their own opinions. We have an email address, getoffendedtogether@gmail.com, where you can go ahead and give us those long, lengthy responses if you have any of those. But also, we have a YouTube channel, /Retrospect Pod, where you can give us comments or like the videos and that kind of stuff. And we're also on all the major podcasting platforms. You can find us as well. But anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. God bless.
Hey, and think about sharing us. Help us get the message and the word out there. Thank you for hanging out with us today. You're the best. Peace.